Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today we're back working on our metal planer restoration, and I've still got to get my motor and everything mounted up on this thing, but today's job is I need to get this machine leveled up. Actually, re-leveled. And the reason I got to re-level it is that if you've been following this channel and this series for very long, you know that we set this machine up over in a different part of the shop. I spent a lot of time using an auto collimator to get my ways straight, to actually scrape it in, or fairly straight to scrape them into. We leveled the machine up, everything was good, and then I decided to move the machine to a different part of the shop, and I basically got to re-go through this process. This time it should be a little bit easier. I'm not going to be shooting the ways with the auto collimator. We've already been down that path. We've already done that. That was more for that getting it scraped in initially. The scraping's already done. So right now we're just going to put the levels up here on the bed and get it leveled up. So let me zoom you in. I got two different levels, or two different types of levels, actually 3 individual levels, but I want to show you these levels and why we're doing it the way we are. All right, guys, let's have a little conversation about levels here in leveling machinery. And I've got, actually I lied, I went and pulled out my Starrett 199, so I got 3 different types of levels, 4 individual levels on the machine now, but I wanted to just kind of talk about what we've got here. So first off, these levels here, these 2, they're actually the exact same level, or same model level. They're Starrett 98s, and these are precision levels. They're very, compared to like a carpenter's level, the accuracy of these is just amazing. Each line in this, on this vial is about 5/1000ths of an inch per foot. So if you had a piece of metal that was 1 foot long, and you put a 5/1000ths piece of shim stock up underneath it, it would move the bubble 1 line. And to give you an idea of 5/1000ths, well, a human hair is about 3/1000ths of an inch. So just maybe a hair and a half, you know, will move the line on here 1 line. Now, this level and this level here, this is a Starrett 199. It's a traditional style level. This is what's called a fell all-way level, and you can tell it's actually, you got a big bubble in the middle and you got lines on both sides, and basically you can see where you are in relationship in 2 axes at one time. That's the reason I have 2 of these levels, one in one direction, one the other. This one you get to see that view all in one shot. But these levels are extremely accurate. They call this the master precision level, Starrett did, and each division, each line on that vial on this one is a 1/2,000th per foot. So 5/1000ths per foot, 1/2,000ths per foot. In other words, every line that we move the bubble on this level here would equal 10 lines on this level, to kind of give you an idea of the difference in magnitude of what we're measuring. And my fell level down here is also measuring in a 1/2,000th per foot increments. Each line on that in there represents a 1/2 per foot. So I'm actually not going to use the 199. We're just going to use the fell level. I could accomplish the same thing here if I had 2 of these, or you can just kind of flip-flop them. If you've only got 1, you can, you know, level it in one direction, flip-flop it, level it in the other direction, and then you kind of probably have to go back and forth to finalize it at the very end. Now, you know, is this 199 level, is this overkill from a standpoint of leveling a machine? An argument could be made, you know, for many machines it probably is, but for a super accurate precision machine, you really want to go to something like this right here, because, you know, you're having your machine leveled out and having your machine where you don't have big dips or whatever in your ways is going to really affect your precision. So leveling things out with a good high quality level is worth the time to go through. But we're going to start basically by using these Starrett 98s to kind of get it into the resolution that I can then go to this level and start fine tuning it. Now I will tell you that when you get down to these 2 levels here, you know, when you're adjusting a screw, I mean, you turn that screw just a 1/10 of a turn, and you can, in some cases, move this thing 4 or 5 lines. This level will make you pull your hair out. But if you really want to get it tuned in really nice, this is the way to go. My goal is, at the end of this, if I can get it within about 2/1000ths per foot I'm probably going to be happy. So, you know, I don't have to have it dead nut center, but if I can get it basically if it's reading in the resolution of this level here, you know, and not out on the edge, I'm going to be happy with where we're at. But again, these levels are just a little bit more accurate. Anyway, a little bit on levels, just make sure everybody understands the difference between these and why we go to the trouble to use these super accurate levels. All right, I took that 199 out because we're not going to use it, but where do we need to start with? You know, just where we're sitting on the floor right now, you know, this level here is pretty much maxed out. It's all the way over. And, you know, if you don't know which direction you need to lift on level, you can just go over there and pick up one side and see which direction the bubble moves. We need the bubble to go that direction, so we need to pick up the back side of this lathe, or this planer rather, to get that bubble going. Same thing over here. You know, we're not maxed out. You know, we're only what, 5, 10, 15, 20 thousandths per foot out on this one, but again, we need to raise up that side over there to get it leveled out. I'm going to start with this back side here, just simply because that's where I've got the most to move. And we're going to go down to our leveling feet and just start cranking on this thing and keep an eye on this level and until we get it where we need for it to be. Going to be a lot of up and down, rough on an old man's knees, but sometimes it's what you got to do. But I just want to show you, we got these leveling feet up underneath the different feet on the planer, and there's a screw in here that we can adjust, and this is basically two wedges that go against each other, and when we tighten that up, it raises that foot up. I can't remember how much resolution we had in these. I measured them back when I did my first video on this, but I'm hoping that I got enough resolution. If we jack them all the way up and we don't have enough, what I have to do is back them down. We'll put a shim up underneath between the two pieces and then kind of have to start over. So I'm just going to start cranking here. I've got the nut here, and you know, I'm going to kind of keep track of counts, our turns, and I try to do this equally since we want to raise this whole side up so that we kind of keep it in balance. And you know, I actually need to raise that back corner up a little bit more, so I may do a few more turns on that one and kind of keep an eye on my level bubbles at the same time. I still haven't moved that one off of that one yet. So anyway, here we go. We'll go ahead and put some tension on this center foot, and then come back to this back one, same thing. All right, let me look at my bubble, and we're still pretty well maxed out in there. Maybe not quite. Okay, we're starting to move. I'm looking at my bubble, and yes, we have moved it a little bit. I'm just going to kind of put a little bit of a mark on here where I can kind of see how much. So I'm going to do another, I think I'm going to do 10 turns on each foot again. And when I say 10 turns, it's not full turns, it's just 10 movements of my wrench here. Let's see where we're at now. All right, we moved it probably about a line and a half. So that kind of gives me an idea. I'm gonna need a lot more than 10 cranks. And 10, again, there's 6 flats on that. I'm making about 1 flat per turn. So, you know, roughly a turn and a half is what I'm doing. So I think I'm gonna do 20 this time. All right. All right, keep on cranking. I'm probably going to have to put some shims under these. I don't think I'm going to have enough resolution. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to back this one off and put a shim in there. Let me pull it down. I'm gonna just put a little jack up underneath this to hold this up while I lower that down so that I can make sure I have room for the shim to go in. Now that I got the weight off of it, I can screw this by hand. I'm gonna screw it all the way down, and then we'll put our shim in. All right, I've got my shim stock here, and let's see, can we get that one in there? That's my biggest shim that I have, which is, what are these? These are 125 thou shims, so basically 1/8 of an inch. And there's not a whole lot of room in there for anything else. I'm just going to push that up in there. Take another one of these shims, just kind of. All right, that's in there. And I'll let the weight off the jack now, and that should give me another set of resolution that I can work with. And I can also tell that we're going to need to shim this back corner up a little bit too. I'm already not all the way out, but largely out down there. So here's what we're doing. We're just taking the jack. I'm picking up on, taking a little bit of pressure off of that corner. But I'm also looking at my levels, and what I want to do is, while I'm at it, go ahead and try to get them more or less into the resolution where they need to be. So that when I put that shim up underneath it, we're kind of where we need to be. So let's see. This needs to come up a little bit more. And I'm going to back this jack where I got full stroke on it again. I can just move that by hand. So we'll pull that wedge in. All right, we got those shims in there now. I'm gonna let that foot back down, and I think we can go back to leveling again. So I'm bringing you in here now. We've been playing around with getting the shims where they need to be. I think I'm in resolution now where I can really do my final adjusting. So you see we've got our bubbles. I'm only about a half a bubble off on this one and maybe one bubble off on this one. You can see in the fell level, I don't know if you can see it, but hopefully you can see that that bubble is not maxed out anywhere. So I mean, we're within the range of this thing, which is only a couple of thousandths per foot in either direction. Basically right now, the back end needs to come up a little bit, and this side over here needs to come up a little bit still. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to start by cranking on these 2 feet and try to get it in this direction, and then we'll work on the other direction. So let me come up. I'm going to do the 2 outside feet. We'll probably just do the same number of cranks on. Well, actually, I'll probably do a few more cranks on the back because the back's got to come up. So that's going to do 10 cranks here, and I'm going to do 20 on both of these back sides to kind of bring those up together. Let's try that and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're pretty much, we're not quite, but we're real close. On this level, we look level. On this one, we've still got about a thou, it looks like, to get it where it needs to be, thou per foot. And you got to remember that we're probably about 8 feet long, so that's really about 8 thou that we'll have to raise it up. But let's see if we can pull the back ends up. So I'm going to crank up these 2 sides, and I'll do 10 turns on both of them, and then see where we need to go. Probably going to need more than that. That's 10 on that one. let's see what we got. This is a lot easier when you got someone watching your level for you. But we're making progress. So I think I'm going to work on these two ends, try to get this back end up a little bit more. So let me take a few more cranks on that side. Oh, yeah. If anything, I might have gone just a tad too far. I'm going to crank up both of these back screws on these two sides just a little bit, not a whole lot. That's about 3. It's amazing how much that bubble right there will move with just a small amount of change. I'll raise this one up about the same, about 3. And you know, I'm within a half a thou per foot of being there, but I'm just stubborn and I want it to be better. I'm gonna play around with this. I'll bring you back in a little bit, but I'm gonna play around with it a little bit more and see what we can do. Guys, I think I'm gonna leave well enough alone. I mean, that little bitty teeny amount there, I mean, I'm within a half a thou per foot, probably a quarter thou per foot. I think we're just going to leave it there. That's probably as good as I can ever expect to get this thing. And I'm also smart enough to know as soon as I start using this machine, it's going to settle. I'll probably have to tweak this some more after we start running it a little bit. But I think we're good. I think we're level. We're going to call it good right there. Well, there we go. This machine is level again. I feel better knowing we got that done. And like I said, I'll probably recheck this before we start using it. Typically, anytime you move a machine to a new spot, when you level it, it's probably good to, let it sit for a couple of weeks, go back and check it. Things are going to move around. People don't realize how much concrete moves. It's really a good practice. Most of the machinery manuals that you read will tell you to check your machines for level at least twice a year. And very few people do that. So it's always a good practice. Just kind of keep an eye on it because your machines will move over time. The concrete's going to move around. One of the things that we always do when we do a scraping class to talk about precision and how different forces can affect things is we'll set up one of these precision levels, like a Starrett 199, put it on a surface plate, and I'll have everybody in the class come over and look at it on the surface plate and see where it reads. And then we'll have everybody in the class come stand around the surface plate on one side, and just the weight of us standing on the concrete, a class of 10 people, it'll actually cause that concrete to move enough that you'll move the bubble on that level 1 or 2 notches. I see it every single time. So, things move, particularly when you're getting into the level of precision that we're measuring with these levels. So it's a good idea to check them from time to time. But this machine looks good right now. Like I said, we'll double check it before we start using it. But I think we're ready to move on. Like I said, we got to get going with our motor mount. I've actually been working on that today, getting some filler in there in some places, and hopefully in the next week or so we can get those mounted over here and get rolling, and hopefully be making some chips on this machine before very long. That'll be a wrap, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and those comments and thumbs up are appreciated as always. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.